There we are. So rounding backs of the hands together and then palms apart. Each one, make sure you're breathing through that motion. Inhaling as you expand the chest and then exhaling to really push that mid to upper back to the wall in the space behind you. Good. We're going to take that focus to a full arm shoulder roll. So while we started with just moving the arm around a little bit, we're going to actually take the hand and turn the palm away and then towards the midline. So it's up and turn. Get a nice rotation happening through that hand and around. So really thinking about that shoulder motion here. We won't do it yet, but second time around we'll go up against the wall or by the chair or the couch so we can kind of guide what's happening. We want that arm basically to be staying as close to the body as we can. Good. And let's go ahead and go the other way. As you're doing this, just start rotating your palm in different directions. So maybe the palm faces away this time and then away. And just paying attention to what's happening here to that trunk. We're not going to let the trunk rotate with the arm. We're just trying to keep that trunk nice and strong while we mobilize that shoulder joint. And again, inhaling and exhaling. And let's go ahead and go to the other side here. So start with coming up and circling away from your body. And just checking the hand position here. I'm rotating around. The body wants to follow. Catch it and keep it nice and strong without letting it rotate with the arm. So we're again creating just some nice circles here in that arm. Not everyone's going to be able to keep their arm close to the body as we get to here. If it wants to go out, that's fine. We're going to try the best to keep it pulled in. And now we're going to switch directions. So you're going to start with that motion going back and then around. Playing with the palm positioning. Make sure you're breathing, inhaling back, and exhaling, coming forward. And you certainly can sit down and do this. You'd have to make sure you don't have an arm on your chair, it doesn't get in the way. A little bit easier standing. Do a few more in this direction. One more. Good. So we're going to go back to the one where we had our palms facing away from each other. We're rounding over. We're going to try to go a little bit lower now. So you're thinking about reaching down towards the floor, but still pushing that upper back and mid back away. And then come up. And this time I want you to take your gaze towards your ceiling and keep turning those palms away from the body and going in and out of that at your own pace. Taking special attention to inhale as you're taking that gaze up and opening up, and exhale as you're reaching down towards the ground, but yet pushing the mid to upper back towards the ceiling. And just grounding those legs nice and strong. We're not forcing anything. I want you to really just, again, be purposeful and mindful with that body. We're trying not to collapse here like a typical forward fold. We're really pushing that lower back up. And then the legs, you're pushing the hips away from the floor. Opening up. Let's do one more. Check those palms facing away. And then again, facing away from each other. And just bring it forward again. So taking a V stance, we're going to pay attention to where those hips are. So I want you to make the V and pay attention to how much rotation you actually have in your hip joint, okay? So, I mean, unless you're a ballerina dancer, I've never really met many people that can actually stand and let their thighs rotate out. If you can, you should probably be a professional dancer, keeping those heels together, toes apart. And we're just kind of paying attention to hear what's happening in the pelvis. And we're going to add some slight tilting forward and back of the pelvis to really get a nice lengthening through the outside to the front of the hip joint. So tilting back and forward. Our rib cage pretty much just stays where it's at. Exhaling as you tilt the pelvis back a little bit. Inhaling as you expand the rib cage and arch the back. So again, heels are together, legs are grounded. As you start to tilt the pelvis back and engage those glutes, you can feel that nice lengthening there. Now just take a pause from that pelvis rotation. See if you can actually angle your feet out just a little bit further. Don't force anything here. And again, get back into your pelvis rotation, tilting forward and back, and feel that stretch change. Now, where you feel this, oftentimes we get focused on where should I feel this. Wherever you feel this is appropriate for you. I'm feeling this kind of shooting down my leg, especially as I tuck down my leg, and then it goes right into the insides of my knees. Someone else might feel this more in their back, right? Or more in the front side of their pelvis. Let's try a couple more here. Still grounded with those legs, tilting the pelvis. Good. And bringing those feet in front. Let's go ahead and take some focus down into the ankles here. I want you to just take one toe, place it on the ground. Now, if you need a chair or your couch or the wall for balance, certainly stabilize. We're going to just start driving the ankle forward and then turn and press those toes into the ground, but still keep that heel up. So I'm pushing down and spreading those toes out, with a little bit of my body weight on there. And then forward. So I'm driving the tops of my toes into the ground. And then spread those toes and push down. Still stabilizing with the other leg for balance and hanging on to something. I don't want balance to be the challenge here. I want you to really work on mobilizing the top of the foot, top of the toes. If you can, I mean, especially if you're in the privacy of your own home, I'd prefer you to always have your shoes off when we do this class. There's no way you can get this mobility in your shoe right? Now, some of you that have calcified toes or arthritis in your feet, things like that, yes, this isn't always going to feel the best, but again, you're always using that discomfort as your guide of how much pressure you can put down to start to mobilize. So once those toes are spread, let's hold that there, and you're going to work on just moving the heel back and forward, back and forward. Keep those toes spread out on the ground. And just a little peek from the front. Just make sure that ankle is not rolling out and you're overstretching the ligaments and tendons on the outside of the ankle. Good. And one more. Let's go ahead and take our toe all the way back. And just a gentle knee bend and just slowly dragging those toes along the floor. And then come back once again. Kind of extend and pressing the toes towards the floor, the ankle forward. Feel that lengthening through the front of the shin, maybe even a little burning going on, and start to slide that foot forward. Good. Let's go to that other side. Okay, again, chair, wall, whatever you need for stability. We're going to go ahead and point the toe and drive the ankle forward, and then spread the toes back, keeping the heel lifted, kind of putting a little bit of weight onto the ball of the foot, and forward and back. I'm going to turn my angle. Good. And I don't know if you can tell in your camera, but as I go back, my toes want to cramp, right? That's kind of a normal, I shouldn't say it's normal, but the muscles just in those feet are not used to being really put in these positions. So those of us that have like the beginning of hammer toes and things like that, all of those tendons get shorter, or they adaptively shorten if we're not working on mobilizing those toes very well. And thinking about those shoes that you put on every day, how much rubber do you have between you and the ground, right? For some of us, that's a necessity to be able to walk on uneven grounds and things like that, but it does us a disservice as far as what's happening with the feet. Good. So this one, we're going to keep the toes spread, and I want you to just bring the ankle back a little bit and then forward. Slight pressure onto the toes, driving the ankle forward, and then the heel back a little bit. Keeping every single one of your toes pinned into the ground and spread out as far as they will let you. Kind of a weird homework assignment, but if you don't have them at home, you can buy yoga toes, which actually are just rubber pieces that fit in between your toes. Or you could go to the dollar store or Walgreens or wherever and just get the little foamy pads that people put in between their toes to paint their toenails, and just sit with them between your toes for a good 5-10 minutes a day, maybe while you're reading a book or watching a show or something like that. Let's go ahead and take that foot behind us, and we're going to start to drag it along the floor. Just slight pressure into that foot and pull it forward. And again. And pull it forward. Good. Now, why would I want that as a homework assignment? Well, think about putting your shoes on and it pushes those toes together, right? They're kind of start to overlap each other, things like that. So making sure that we're kind of counteracting that and spreading. Good. So let's go ahead and just hang on for balance. Just kind of shake those ankles and those feet out a little bit. Any little natural adjustments that need to happen are going to happen. They pop, clack, click, whatever, as long as it doesn't hurt. Good. All right, so I would like us to come to the floor, and we're going to start on our hands and knees. So again, if you have a towel or if you need to double up your mat just to have a little bit of cushion underneath your knees, don't forget that that's always an option there. So I want us to place our hands kind of out in front. We're just going to use them as a kickstand, and you're going to cross one foot over the opposite leg. So what I did is I kind of moved my leg out to the side. So I'm just going to demonstrate this from a different angle. So it's not resting here on my lower leg. I'm actually bringing it up to just rest the top of that foot on the inside of my knee. And then I'm going to work on sitting back and then coming forward. Sitting back and coming forward. And what we're actually doing is we're working on rotation in that hip. So sitting back, and I want you to try to keep your foot, that back foot, the top of it on the ground. So you're working on continuing to lengthen the front of that ankle and lower leg. Many people have such tight ankles and they're stuck like this. So just taking that shoe off, letting that foot relax back, putting a little pressure will allow you to keep lengthening, mobilizing those fibers. So it's just a subtle little sit. Some of you may be able to sit further back than me. This is as much as I can go. It doesn't feel very comfortable to go any further. We're going to do about 3 more on this side. I want you to go ahead and exhale. And then inhale as you come forward. Exhale. And then inhale, coming forward. 1 more. And forward. Good. So we're going to go ahead and switch to that other side. Bringing that leg across, and make sure you're not just resting it on the lower leg. Bring it up a little bit and get the front of that ankle or the top of the foot, whatever feels best for you, okay, behind that knee. And then you're going to gently sit back and come forward. And maybe you need to have your hands resting on your couch, okay? Sometimes I forget to give all these options. So you certainly can have the hands on the couch or pressing, you know, if that feels better, to come up nice and high and then back. Good. And again, relax that foot. I'm definitely able to get further back on this side for myself. Some of us know why we're able to move and mobilize more on one side versus the other. It's not necessarily knowing the reason, it's knowing what to do to keep correcting it and counteracting the difference. 2 more. It's kind of like being diagnosed, right? Okay, now that I know what it is, what am I going to do about it? What am I going to treat? I have inflammation or tendonitis in my wrist. Well, what am I going to do about it? Right? Good work. All right, so bring that foot down, just kind of shake out the feet, kind of slap them onto the top of your mat or your carpet or your wood floor. Good. Let's tuck those toes back, and we're going to work on just sitting back, putting a little different pressure onto the feet. So this, I'm hoping you feel a little bit more up into your arch of the toes. Again, there's nothing wrong with having your hands up onto your couch and then sitting back. It might feel a little bit more comfortable, or the forearms, and coming up. So the toes are tucked under, and then us just driving our hips back and putting a little bit of weight on towards those heels is going to really stretch those arches out. And most of us at this particular time have our feet probably a little apart, right? So if you want to really challenge and mobilize a little bit more coming on the inside of the feet, you can start to walk your knees and your ankles together. They're going to want to splail apart like this. We're trying to kind of keep them together if you bring those knees in a little closer. And we're going to do about 3 more of these, just sitting back into the hip. Nothing should hurt. Remember, in this class, we're just finding our endpoints and breathing in and out of them. And one more. Good. And go ahead and relax and bring yourself to a seated position here. So we're going to sit into like a 90 degree position here. So this knee should be kind of straight out from our hip, and that ankle straight back from this knee. And we just align this knee and hip and that ankle and knee. So if I looked at you from the top, it's 90 degrees here, 90 degrees here. Okay. So all we're going to do right now is we're going to rotate from here over to the side. So I'm just placing my hands on my front foot, my back lower leg, and then I rotate to the side. Breathe through this. Okay, maybe inhaling one direction, exhaling the other. Now, as we continue to go from side to side, I'm already feeling like I could probably bring my body a little bit closer to the floor when I get over there and twist maybe even a little bit more as I come over to this side. So just, again, listen to your body. So as you come to each side, you're just moving maybe a little bit further each time. I'm coming down, I'm getting to my endpoint, so I'm going to slow that down a little bit and really feel that stretch happen through the outside of my body. Someone else might feel it in the outside of their hip. We are doing 2 more in this direction. And you can be right by your couch if you need to as well, right? Maybe your hands don't feel the best coming to the ground. Good. So I want you to lean into your arm and we're going to concentrate on this hip. So you're going to press the outside of this front knee into the ground and the outside of the entire lower leg kind of to stabilize. You're using that arm. And I want you to bring this leg forward and straighten it out. Bend the knee and then use the hip to get it back to that position, okay? So you can always hang on to that front lower leg, front of the knee, and bring it back. Leaning into this arm, again, pushing to stabilize today. So we're activating those opposing muscle groups on that side, just to pretty much be able to keep that nice and stable to support. 2 more. Bringing it around, straightening it out, bending the knee. Good. 1 more. Keep pushing into the ground. And hold that one there. You're going to bring this knee in just a little bit, and I want you to lift that back foot up and down for 5 times. 4, breathe through this. 3, while you're doing that, you're still pushing this front leg into the ground. 2, and the inside of this knee. And 1, good. Let's take that back leg, follow along with me. That back ankle is going to come across to the outside of the front leg. And we're just going to place those hands at our side and keep our body up nice and tall. Got black pants on, can't really see where my knees are. So we're bent here ankle here. If you're able to pull it in a little bit more, don't force anything, right? And just really opening up the outside back of this hip into your back. Good. Let's see what happens when you bring this ankle in underneath that seat a little bit. You're going to be able to hopefully bring your body up a little bit more. Maybe your knee doesn't bend that much. So again, don't force anything here, right? And then we work on, if we're able to, if it feels okay, in the hip back here, to just gently drop. Maybe you need to plop your towel underneath a little bit to help support the hip so you can relax. You've got your hands too. One last little transition here. We're going to take that arm around and just do a nice ringing out of the spine, but we're still up tall. We're not collapsed in, okay? So again, every week, just doing different forms of mobility, intentional things. We're going to just unwind our little pretzel there. Go ahead and shake those legs out. And I want us to get into that other side. So into that 90-90 position. Just check everything out here. Ankle in line with the knee in line with the hip, but don't force anything. Maybe you're not quite able to get the knee in line with the hip without it hurting. Well, then bring that knee forward slightly. Find that little spot you need to be. Maybe eventually it does go there. Knee in line here and here. And we just start with that rotation. A little tighter to begin on this side. Hand goes to the foot, hand goes to the back lower leg. And continue to rotate from side to side, not forcing anything. Try to breathe, either inhale or exhale with this motion, and then vice versa. You can go right up against your couch there if you remember. The body tells you what you're able to do. So listen to that body. Never trying to look like another physical body, just using that as a guide. So moving in and out of your stretching exercises and mobility exercises is going to allow those tissues to respond and waken up a little bit more effectively than just holding and forcing them to stay in that lengthened state. We're going to do 2 more of these. Last one here. Good, and bring it up. So you're going to use this arm as a little bit of a kickstand. You're going to press the outside of this leg, lower leg and outside of the upper thigh. And you're going to start to mobilize through this hip. So we bring the knee up and we bring it around and we straighten it, okay? Bend, bring it back using that hip, and you can stabilize holding on to this leg. So up, keep pushing into the ground with that opposing side. Bend and reach it back. Good. Keep pushing with this leg here to help bring that leg around. Every time you come back to a straight leg, just kind of let that hip sink a little bit. You're getting a nice lengthening through the very back side, underside. of the glutes, hamstrings. So I'm not sure if you notice, I personally am taking a little bit more time to get out of this position because I have a strained muscle. And so I'm having to really work on getting these guys to help stabilize here because those muscles don't want to do their job. So I'm kind of really firing them up. Is that going to hurt a strained muscle? No, you're re-educating it. You're getting everything to fire again appropriately. The longer you mobilize something, the more damage you're going to do, right? We need time to heal, but movement heals. Good. One more of these. Bringing it in front. Good. And we're going to actually take that leg and bring that ankle to the outside, right? And you can use your arms for a little kickstand here. Don't force anything. Don't push anything. If this starts to bother, you might want to tuck it in right away a little bit. Maybe get something underneath your hip if that feels better. And if you're able to slide that heel in a little and the knee allows you, you'll be able to sit that hip down maybe a little bit more. But again, listen to everything. It's going to feel different than your other side did. That last little position, you're going to go ahead and bring the arm of the opposite side around and hug that leg in. And really think about sitting tall here using that arm. Maybe scoot yourself up against your couch or your wall. And bringing everything forward again. And sliding that leg out and around. And let's go ahead and just shake them out. So I want you to find your rolled up towel or your rolled up mat or your foam roller, okay? And we are going to sit with one knee bent and one leg straight, okay? So we're gonna work a little bit on knee mobility. Some people physically aren't able to completely straighten out their knee. Maybe they had some damage or whatnot, but if it's just soft tissue, you could gain that back. So again, the back of the knee right now is not on the towel or the foam roller. That's right underneath the knee. So there's my kneecap. So you can see how it follows underneath the knee. So you have some space here. So what I want us to do is think about contracting this thigh muscle and turning the toes up to the shin. So the whole front side of that leg is contracted, and you're going to feel a lengthening through the back side and just kind of resting, or let yourself sit up against your couch with a little bit of an angle will probably feel better than straight up because that's a pretty big stretch there. And then relax everything, and we'll continue to do that exercise. And relaxing. So you're really contracting the thigh, thinking about pulling that kneecap up, turning the toe, by contracting the thigh muscles, right? Because that's what they do. Those thigh muscles extend or straighten the knee. And relax. You can feel them shut off. And then put the effort into contracting, thinking about driving the back of the knee into the ground. And relax. Do not forget about that lower leg. And relax. There's really no way you can do damage here if you're going to feel things work, right? You feel that lower leg. You feel a huge stretch here, right? As long as you're really using those muscles, right? The stronger they get, they're going to mobilize your ankle more, right? And your knee more. Contract that quad. And we've got one more to do on this side. Good. We'll slide that over to the other side. Once again, placing that underneath your knee. Yeah, probably go this way because you can't really see. So below the knee joint itself, just leaning back into your hands or going into your couch or your wall. So we pull the toes up, contract that thigh, hold that, and then relax and shut everything off. Pull it up. If you do not have a foam roller, you've got a yoga mat rolled up underneath that leg. You've got a big towel. Maybe you have to use 2 of your bath towels. Contract nice and hard here, pushing that knee. Those of you that have patellar tendonitis, a lot of aching and pain in the front around like a horseshoe, maybe type pain. This is huge. You've got to get that kneecap to do, mobilize on a free floating bone, right? And the more stiff it is and doesn't move, it creates a lot of itis, inflammation. Good, but this is really getting those quads to fire, right? The patella tendon is your quadriceps muscles. Contract, pull up, nice and hard here, and we've got 3 more on this side. Relax that leg. Never putting any pressure, downward pressure. You're always using the muscles. That's why I said you're not going to be able to really hurt yourself if you're using the muscles. The knee joint's only going to straighten as far as your muscles will allow it to contract. Now, there are some people that are super hypermobile and they might get into hyperextension. That's not good either. 1 more. Pressing down. Good. Whew. I felt those quads working. Shake them on out. Good. So we're all gonna sit by a chair or by the edge of your couch. Okay. Or if you need to go run to a table or something like that, you can do that as well. So I want us to be able to just rest our arm. So we're going to go into some shoulder mobilization, okay? I want us to be able to just rest that upper arm on something, okay? So whatever feels best, maybe sitting crisscross isn't best for you, maybe just sitting with your knees and your hips bent or one tucked under, whatever feels best for you to sit. I just want you to feel like you're somewhat relaxed here in the upper body. So the lower arm is the only thing that's kind of actually moving through gravity right now. That upper arm is just rotating in the socket. So we're not using any weights with this right now because I want you to use your muscles to come up and just continue to use your muscles to pull that back of that hand back further. Check your posture. Just like we did the shoulder mobility in the beginning, we want to make sure we're not rotating with our body to get that arm up. I want this to stay solid and then the rotation happening through the arm humerus in the shoulder socket. Good. We're coming up, holding it for a count of 2. And while you're holding it, you're trying to go a little bit further. And we'll do 1 more here. Good. And we're just going to rest that arm and we're going to bring the chest forward. You're going to feel that stretch through the front of the chest and into the biceps tendon. Come bring that body forward. If you're sitting in a chair by the table, you just have your legs wrapped over your chair, arm at the table. Very similar to if you were to walk up to a door and then do this stretch, but we don't have to hold that arm and hold the shoulder up against gravity right now because everything can shut off and then you can mobilize a little bit more effectively. On this next one, when you're forward, I want you to push into the chair with your arms for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then come up. And then one more time. Bring that body forward. Maybe you're able to go just a hair further and push hard into the chair for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then bring it up. That's all we're doing on that side. We're going to go ahead and go to the other side. So turn your body if you're by your couch, your chair, whatever's easiest for you. And we'll go ahead and sit again so that you can relax the arm or the chest and the back muscles. We're not shrugging. And we're just going to go ahead and bring the knuckles towards the ceiling. When you get as far as you think you can go, contract a little harder in those muscles way back in that shoulder joint. And then just bring it down. And bring it up. There are no weights in our hand right now. We're really just strengthening the muscles without any added weight. Isometric contraction, pushing back, holding, continuing to push, and then bring it down. Make sure you're relaxed here, no shrugging. Really check that body. It might want to rotate to give you a false sense of more mobility. So if you're stuck here, but you just rotate your body to go further, that's not helping you gain mobility in that shoulder and strengthen that shoulder. Just getting those muscles to fire. And one more. Good. And we're just going to rest that lower arm onto our couch or our chair, and we're going to start to flex forward. Make sure your elbow is in line with your shoulder, not behind it. And then come up. And again, forward and up. Come into it. This time we're going to press that arm into your couch or your chair for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release those muscles and sit up again. And again, coming down and press into the chair for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bring it up. Last time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bring it up. Good. Roll those shoulders around a little bit. Before we go to the wall or use our chair back, I want us to use our towel or our foam roller again, okay? So those of you who have had me, done like personal training or other mobility classes with me, you hear me talk a lot about this thoracic spine. So we're going to get those towels placed underneath the shoulder blades, right at the bottom of my shoulder blades there, okay? So there's a space here. Your towels aren't going to be as firm, but it can be the same thing, or just fold a couch pillow. Go ahead and just relax those legs in a bent position. I really want you to support your head with your hands and just let those elbows fall out. So you're going to go around that towel or foam roller. So for today, just kind of getting this motion down. If your towel didn't provide a lot of space, maybe you've got like a big can outside in your garage, maybe 2 of them, and you can always wrap a towel around that to create a little bit more of a firm object, or just get several towels and just wrap them up. But just a little opening up through the rib cage. Not everyone is going to go into a nice big extension here. in their back, because many people lose the ability to go into that extension because everything gets so tight on the inside and the front of our body there. Again, you have something supporting your spine, right? And you're just relaxing your head in your hands. Very hard to do a lot of damage unless you're going really fast into this and really fast out of it. It doesn't mean that you won't feel this the next day or the day after, because you're really lengthening through a bigger motion than what you do on a day-to-day basis. And you're not forcing anything. And that's it. That's all I wanted to do today. Okay? Because now I want us to go up against the wall. I'm just going to sit next to this chair here, and it's going to act like a wall. So you can stand and go up against your wall. I don't know if this will work for me or not. I'm going to make it work. The wall is much easier because you can actually slide your hand along the wall. I'm actually going to use this guy here. Okay. So either sitting next to a high chair or the back of your couch, side of your couch, so something is high. So the goal here is to not let that arm move way away, but you will need to be about 6 inches or so, and I'll probably just go to standing so I can demonstrate a little bit. So about 6 to 8 inches away. Not very many people can be glued up against the wall and rotate without having to come away. So make sure you find the space you need to be with your wall, okay? And as you get a little more mobility in that shoulder, you'll be able to go maybe just a hair closer. All right, so I'm standing. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my palm towards my wall or my chair. So same thing we did at the beginning, but now we've got an object here. As soon as I get back wherever I need to, I'm gonna turn my palm up and then around so that that palm is towards the wall again. So I'm here. And just watch that arm. So notice how my body wants to rotate. Stabilizing with my body. Good. Good. Turning that arm around, and then the palm faces behind us. Pinky is leading as far as that shoulder lets you. And then start to turn, 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 turn. So the pinky leads coming up again. Really reach. That's the hardest part. Think about something is pulling your arm out of your shoulder socket. Don't forget to turn, turn, turn. Keep turning it. One more here. Good. And then we're going to do other direction again. So we're coming around. We get up as high as we can with our thumb leading. And then I turn, turn, turn. Thumb leads. That wall is great because you can really kind of just force it to go through that motion a little bit. Now notice I'm really bad example, bad teacher here. I'm trying to keep my core as solid as I can. Here's my sticky point. Everyone's sticky point's different. My back's gonna wanna arch. I'm trying to get here. So if you're sitting down, same concept. Don't let your back arch too much. And we're gonna do one more. Keep pushing, pushing, pushing. Rotate, rotate, rotate. So the thumb leads, and then bring it around. Rotate, 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 and around. Good. So just let that arm swing side. So I'm not using my muscles to do it. I'm actually using my body to just swing side to side. And maybe even making like little figure eights, a little bit of leg coordination. And we're gonna turn and go to that other side. All right, so pinky leads. Okay, we're either sitting up against our chair or our chair is slightly away, right? We don't want to force it to impinge. And the key is to be able to do this without shrugging to get around, right? So pinky's going to lead, pinky's going to lead, right? And then we just turn, 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 pinky leads coming up. And just watch my hand if you need to figure out what is she saying turn for, right? So right here is where I'm going to start to rotate my hand. You might have to do it sooner. Maybe this is where you need to start turning, turning, turning your shoulder. So all that's happening in that shoulder joint. Pinky is leading, core and tight. My back wants to arch and rotate. One more. You might have to be a whole foot away from the wall or your chair or your couch back. Let's go the other way. So thumb is going to lead. Get where you need to go. Keep turning, turning, turning. And that thumb lead's coming around. Flip it, flip it, flip it. Flip it around so the thumb stays leading. Whew. This side wants to rotate. I'm actually putting my hand on my rib cage to really listen to my body, right? And kind of really contract those muscles in my core to keep that body strong and stable. We're doing one more in this direction. Thumb leads. Flip, flip, flip to continue that thumb leading. And then down. Good. And then from here, just kind of let your body sway side to side. And then maybe even into some circles or figure eights. I'm trying to let my legs do most of the work here. Good. So go ahead and find your way to the floor again. Running out of time again. I'm just gonna go ahead and let you all relax. Today, what I was thinking, if it's comfortable for you, I want you to come to the floor face down, and you'll turn your head in one direction, and I do want your arms to be in a little goalpost. I don't want your elbows above your shoulders. I want them slightly in line, and just let the gravity, kind of push into the shoulders and hold that. So turn your head to one side if it's pinching, right? Play around with your arms wherever they might need to be. And we're just gonna let our head turn to that side, and then I'll just cue you when to turn it the other side. Concentrate on your breathing here. As you inhale, try to take the breath from your toes all the way up your body. And as you exhale, just breathe that breath out from the top of your body all the way down and out your toes. position, or are you letting them relax? Take the attention to your neck. Are you trying to hold the head in a position to take pressure off the neck? Or are you exhaling and just releasing and trust that your muscles were meant to be mobile? And we're going to finish with one last position. Your forehead on your mat. Tucking your chin ever so slightly so that you're not squishing your nose into the ground. And we're going to slide those arms down to the side of our body. Our palms are going to be facing the floor. In this position, your ears are not allowed to sit out in front of your shoulders. You're relaxing through the neck, through the shoulders, through the chest and the back. And just realizing what it feels like to be holding your head in a good position. Ending with a couple more refreshing breaths. Inhaling as you feel that belly press gently into the ground as you inhale. And expanding through the rib cage as you inhale. And on your next couple exhales, just really pay attention to how the belly button comes towards the spine as you're exhaling. That belly gets a little lighter on the floor. Your rib cage sinks down towards your pelvis, becomes heavy. Again, the inhale, it's expanding. And the exhale, it's becoming smaller. And when you're ready, you'll open your eyes. Or push yourself up to a seated position or kneeling position.